Greetings and welcome to episode 229 of the Words About Games podcast, a weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, just now checking to make sure all of the volume is on. It is. And I'm joined this week by Tyrick Welsh.
Hello, Amy.
Hello,
Season's greetings.
Tyrick. Season's greetings. It's the best. It's the best season of the year.
Oh, it's very spooky.
Yeah, it's spooky season.
I know. I do my Vincent Price impression, but I think I've done it too much.
I don't think that's true or possible. Well, so I was hoping I was baiting it out of you there.
No. Oh, I'm not going to fall for that. You're one of those terrible phantasms, aren't you? No. It's only because I can't do Peter Lorre.
I'll take your word for it.
No.
How are you doing?
I get by.
Yeah.
I mean, my situation is not really remarkable given the circumstances.
Yeah.
Just take every day as it comes.
It's the default question I always ask at the beginning of each podcast, but it's like it does have new and horrifying meanings.
Yes, it's because now it's basically how are you coping?
Yeah, it's not like how is life for you? How good is life for you? Now it's how are you surviving whatever?
Yeah, it's like right.
We are currently living through.
Yeah, how many survivors are in your house? How many zombies are outside? Are the windows all boarded up? Yeah.
Look, I've got all. Did I lock all of the doors and windows?
No, you fool! You've doomed us all.
No.
Jason Voorhees is outside.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few months since we've had you on the podcast.
Yeah, there's been a pandemic since.
And since then, everything has been fine. It's the game
This is fine.
Specifically. This is all fine. There's not been like radical movements for justice for Black lives or trans lives. And gigantic controversies involving entire AAA publishers. Like none of it. The games industry's had a normal one in 2020. And there might have been a little pandemic. Just a little pandemic. But everything's good. Apart from all of that, I think everything's gone pretty well. Games are pretty good.
I mean, in fairness, I don't want to say it's been a mixed blessing because that's not accurate, but I think as an industry, video games are probably not doing so badly in that people are still playing them and paying for them. I think releasing consoles in the current environment is stupid and dumb and should be pushed back to next year, but we had to have the world's biggest game of chicken.
Yeah.
We couldn't just... Sony and Microsoft couldn't just sort of get together and say, you know what? Maybe we don't do this now.
Maybe next year. We'll see how the recession plays out. Yeah, that was a long series of conversations on this podcast over the course of 6 months, and I just got more and more irate.
Well,
the entire situation.
Understandably so, yes, because it just became increasingly clear that now is not a good time to be releasing consoles. So why should we bother? But that would have neither of them was prepared to cede any ground, and we'll see what happens because maybe they're not going to do great in the current environment.
We'll see. It's still difficult to get a pre-order, but without knowing how many they've actually made,
right?
It's really impossible to tell how well they're doing. I am apparently getting one, a PS5 in less than 4 weeks.
Oh, good. Which one are you getting?
The normal one, the disc one. I still use discs quite a lot.
Okay. I didn't even bother trying because I didn't see the point.
No, I knew I was gonna probably get one of those. Even though all the exclusive games, most of them are coming out on PS4. I'm still like, I'll get a PS5 because I can afford one of the two right now.
Mm-hmm. Was this before or after Microsoft bought Bethesda?
It's before. My Xbox One X will service me well for a year or two, and then we'll see what happens. To be honest, I'd be fine getting the Series S, the cheap one. Because I'm not really that. I don't have a 4K TV.
Right.
I'm not really that fussed.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. I wonder if for how many people buying a games console is not necessarily even a £400 purchase, but a £1,000 purchase because they've also got to get a 4K TV to
Yeah, right.
justify it.
Like, that was originally before the apocalypse happened. That was my sort of plan, was to sort of see if I could maybe get a PS5 and a 4K TV, and like have
Mm-hmm.
get the whole setup all at once. Then I was like, no, that's not happening now. But I'll get the console. That's the more important of the two things, anyway.
Well, yes, and also that'll be future proofed.
Yeah,
Like
like
it'll be able to do, 4K at some point.
yeah, I'll still be able to get the 4K TV, and then
Well, you'd still need to get a 4K TV that's also got HDMI 2.1 and everything else as well.
HDR10.
So,
oh yeah, I did a lot of research at the beginning of the year and did not put much of it to use. But anyway, where am I up to in this thing? There we go. This is the Words About Games podcast. Every Friday we discuss what's going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture. In this week's episode, we discuss Alexandria. Okay, is it Ocasio-Cortez, right?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes. I keep trying to British it up, right? And being like, oh, it's Ocasio. Ocasio. Like a butler in Downton Abbey. I don't know. I've never watched Downton Abbey. But anyway, in this week's episode, we discuss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's recent Among Us stream, Phil Spencer's comments regarding the Elder Scrolls series following Microsoft's Bethesda acquisition, the NPD sales figures for September, and more. Then we'll go over all the new game announcements from the past week. We'll give you a content drop where we recommend some articles you should read and some videos you should watch. We'll tell you what games are coming out next week before playing OpenCritic head-to-head, where we guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. And then, as always, we'll wrap up with a post-show discussion to chat about whatever's on our minds. There are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube, so you can click around and watch whatever bits of the podcast you want to watch in whatever order you want to watch them. We're also available on a fair few audio platforms nowadays. You can get the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music. We're still waiting to hear back from Google. iTunes managed 24 hours, turn around in 24 hours. Google has so far taken 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, Google might not be doing podcasts this time next week.
This is true.
That's a joke, by the way. That's not me like with some weird insider. That's just me making Google jokes.
When it happens, we'll just credit it all like to you. The information came up. Patrick had the information.
Well, no, he's
a Google insider.
Google drops entire product line shock. Basically, it's
it's never a shock when they do.
It would be a pretty safe bet.
I mean, it's always a safe bet. It was one of his predictions that they would kill Stadia this year.
Oh no, they're not going to kill it this year.
No, not this year. It is going to die though.
Oh yeah.
Should we jump straight into the news?
Sure, let's go.
Let's go. Number 1. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez streams on Twitch with Hasan, Piker, and Pokimane. Draws over 430,000 viewers. This is from Nathan Grayson over at Kotaku, who writes, it began on Monday with a simple question. Anyone want to play Among Us with me on Twitch to get out the vote? Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez asked on Twitter, and nearly every even vaguely left-leaning streamer on Twitch answered. Mere hours later, AOC had a verified Twitch channel and with hundreds of thousands of followers. Tuesday night, she streamed with some of Twitch's biggest stars, resulting in a raucous...
Raucous.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's helpful. In a raucous audience that topped out at around 439,000 concurrent viewers on her channel alone. AOC streamed Among Us, Twitch's out-of-nowhere sci-fi deception mega hit alongside fellow representative Ilhan Omar, as well as online personalities Hasan, Piker, Pokimane, Dr. Lupo, Disguised Toast, Moist Critical, Myth, MXM2, and Jacksepticeye. Later in the stream, they were joined by others like Valkyrie and Corpse. Between their own channels, these streamers added another 200,000 plus concurrent viewers to the series of Among Us games, bringing the full total up to over 600,000 concurrent viewers. AOC's 439,000 alone, though, means that she now holds the record for third most concurrent viewers on an individual streamer's channel in Twitch history. For comparison's sake, recent streams by Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders both topped out at around 1,000 viewers, while the stream by the US Army esports team that ran around the same time as AOC's pulled in, and then it just says sad trombone sound viewers, when I believe it was like 50.
Most of whom were probably trolls.
Probably. They've been getting trolled pretty hard.
And they should be.
As they should. Yes, as they should be. I agree. AOC began her stream by saying she was super nervous but quickly found her rhythm, laughing and joking with everybody else. After Omar had some technical issues, the group began playing Among Us, a game in which up to 10 players work together to get a spaceship up and running, but some are secretly designated imposters who are out to sabotage the ship and kill other players. Imposters then must lie and deceive their way to victory, or else other players will catch on to what they're up to. Quote, "I really don't want to be imposter, please don't let me be imposter," AOC said. The game immediately made her one of the imposters, at which point AOC said, "No!" She did well, however, even if it pained her. I didn't read this full story, it's quite funny. I can't kill Pokey, she said as she crept up behind Pokimane. She's so nice. Upon killing Pokimane, AOC gasped loudly at the horror she had wrought. Eventually, the streamers caught on to AOC's innocent act, but she still managed to convince Omar not to vote her out the airlock. Quote, "Are you really going to do this to me, Ilhan?" she asked, declaring Omar her ride or die after she replied, "No." Throughout a series of matches, AOC did in-game tasks, joked, revealed that her League of Legends skills have sadly deteriorated, talked about healthcare, and got betrayed by the first person ever to host her on a stream, Harry H. Bomber Guy Brewers. It was legitimately enjoyable viewing, buoyed certainly by an all-star cast of streamers, but AOC only felt like a fish out of water at the beginning. Once she got settled in, she was a natural. Before long, she was regularly doing things like accusing Disguised Toast of marinating her by following her around the map so as to eventually kill her. In one especially entertaining moment, she got him thrown out the airlock by suggesting that it'd be an evil genius move for him to do it 2 matches in a row because nobody would expect something so obvious. "I was protecting you," Toast shouted as his character drowned in a lake of lava. Did you watch any of this stream?
I did not watch the stream. Because I didn't know when it was. I wanted to watch the stream, because I am a big fan of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think she is fantastic, and Among Us is a lot of fun to watch. I did see her put the call out on Twitter, and about half my Twitter feed seemed to be responding to her.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, a lot of people I just sort of shot their shot, which is just fair enough, right? Like, you got a chance to stream Among Us on Twitch with AOC, like, you're gonna go for it, right? I didn't watch the stream live because it was on like overnight here in the UK.
Well, yeah, I mean they're 5 hours behind us.
Yeah, I've watched some of the VOD though. It's wonderful. Like, it's genuinely just wonderful, like, to watch.
Yeah, I didn't know Ilhan Omar was in it though.
Ilhan Omar.
That sounds like it'd be.
Not only was she in it, her daughter shows up like halfway through and turns up as well. Ilhan Omar just is a straight up machine when she's impostering. Like, she's a murder machine.
I feel like someone's going to capture that audio and like put it in an election slogan now, saying Ilhan Omar is a murder
machine in Among Us as an imposter. She's really good at it. She's basically really good at it.
Vote for Rich, not a Nazi. Paid for the campaign to elect Rich, not a Nazi.
Paid for by the Nazi campaign. But no, it was like really entertaining. AOC's a really good streamer, like, as it turns out. Like, it takes a while. I think the VOD starts. It takes like half an hour before they're actually into the game.
Well, yeah,
and it might be helped by the fact that she's surrounded herself with like some of Twitch's biggest streamers.
Mm-hmm.
But like within like an hour or so, like, AOC's just like, if you didn't know she was a sitting congresswoman, and it wasn't mentioned constantly on the stream because they were actually trying to get out the vote as part of this. Like, you would just like tune into this and be like, oh, she's just a really good streamer. Like, she's personable, she's nice, she gasps a lot.
Well, I mean, I don't think she's ever done anything on Twitch, but she has definitely done stuff on the gram. where she'll like be cooking dinner and then talking about healthcare reform.
Yeah, like
And
she's
very
part of the stream.
comfortable doing this, like being an online presence.
Oh, definitely. Like,
and also multitasking.
And multitasking, yeah. Like she didn't like have any technical hiccups. What was cool was there were moments where it was like they were, where like it would be like, hey, get out the vote early, do this, have a voting plan, etc., etc. I know at one point she was talking to H Bomber Guy and Pokimane, who are from the UK and Canada, about socialized medicine.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
half a million young people in America, which like.
Yeah, like she was talking to like H Bomber Guy about free healthcare essentially, and he was saying something like how it works in the UK is yes, you go to your doctor and they give you a prescription, and then you go get medicine, and then you go look up how much it costs in the US. And she, like, it sort of she who was not stupid and ill-informed couldn't really believe how straightforward the NHS is.
Yeah, you go to a doctor. The doctor says, "Hey,
not
you need some medicine."
Not the NHS. I mean, the NHS can sometimes be problematic as hell, but getting prescriptions is relatively straightforward.
It's relatively easy, yeah, most of the time. But yeah, it's super simple. But like, those were like pockets of the stream. So like she was on for like 3 hours. I'm pretty sure it was around about 3 hours, but it wasn't like 3 hours of like constantly like talking about politics and social issues and everything else that she talked about. Most of it was just dedicated to the game. And then like there'd be small pockets of have a voting plan, get out the vote, or talking about how free healthcare works in the UK or Canada. Like, and I think that's probably what made it work so well, right? Because for the most part, she was just playing the game. She was just having fun. She was trying to figure out, do her tasks. She was trying to figure out who was sus.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way it sort of came across on Twitter accounts, it basically seemed like she just said, "Oh, I kind of want to play this."
Yeah.
Like, it came across as very authentic, like she did when she said she wanted to play Animal Crossing, and then she played Animal Crossing.
And she visited random people's islands, and it was the best. Yeah, like, I can understand that, because Among Us is a game that you said yourself is really entertaining to watch, and that's how I got into it. Like, for weeks and weeks, I watched it, but I'd never played it. But I was still like, it's the best thing that's come out this year.
Well, it didn't come out this year, but
yeah, it came out this year. It's the best thing everybody discovered this year.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of is also a tribute to Among Us. Like, I don't know what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's like gamer cred is, but like certainly come from an audience perspective, it's like Among Us is so straightforward to understand.
Yes.
Even if you're not a gamer.
100%.
Like it's not Call of Duty. It's not like there's no like even like technical physical requirements to it really, because it's all for the most part social. It's a social deduction game. Like as soon as you've grokked the concepts, there's like not a huge barrier of entry.
Yeah, it's like the tasks that you have to perform in Among Us are really simple and easy to figure out within like 10 seconds of just looking at it and going, okay, what am I supposed to do here? Like, oh,
yeah, they're like WarioWare.
Yeah, like, oh, it's the numbers 1 to 10 in jumbled up order. What do I do? Like, you just do them 1 to 10, and like they're super simple and super quick and super easy to pick up, and the complexity of it is trying to figure out who's trying to murder everybody. And getting it wrong and ejecting Phil out of the airlock 4 times in one session. Like, but it speaks to your point, like, because we've obviously now got an Among Us group going. Number one, it speaks to the popularity of it, that it was super simple, and I've got a group of 11 people and counting to like call on, like, for playing Among Us. But that's also like that group is a mixture of like people like myself and Moody, like, who are like, we do video game podcasts, we constantly play video games, we like live video games. But also on the other end of the spectrum, people like Phil and his wife Erica play with us, and like they play games every now and again, maybe. Like, they're the playing like 2 or 3 games a year crowd, and like we both have the same amount of enjoyment out of Among Us.
Yeah, if you've been playing Dead by Daylight, it'd be a very different stream.
Yeah, exactly. Like something that requires a lot of mechanical skill and
and objectionable content.
And objectionable content, yeah. Like, I wouldn't have been able to get the same group of people together to play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds or something.
No.
And have such a good time.
I mean, PUBG doesn't really reward you for. It's not really welcoming because I mean the very premise of the game is 99% of people who play this will lose.
Yeah, it's like, welcome to PUBG. You're all gonna die. Welcome to Among Us. You're also all gonna die, but it'll be entertaining as hell, and you get to watch with your friends.
A game at Among Us at most runs for half an hour.
Yeah, I think the longest game we played was like 10-15 minutes. On Saturday, like.
And that's assuming it goes for a long time and everyone's like constantly hammering the accusation button.
Oh god, yes. Like, I mean, yeah, like my game of Among Us. My games of Among Us, like when I was the imposter, like people weren't finding the bodies I was dropping, so it didn't last that long. There'd be other matches where someone would be like, I think we caught Phil venting like really quickly in the match, so like we had a match that lasted a couple of minutes because someone just went beam, Phil vented. It'd be like, okay, Phil, bye, and that was one of the times we voted him out, and he was the imposter. But yeah, it's like its simplicity is what makes it work, coupled with the fact that like everybody's looking to hang out online for obvious current situation reasons, and
it's social, and it's social in a way that isn't just having slurs thrown at you by a 14-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's that kind of game where you can like all sit around and recap what happened in the match the night before, and like the recaps are just as entertaining as playing the game. For example, like just before we move on, like because I'll reiterate that I love this stream, but my favorite moment had to be H-Bomber Guy, the first person who ever had AOC on Twitch during his Mermaids stream last year, where she had her on for like 10 minutes. For his first match, because he jumped in partway through, and then he killed AOC. And the look of betrayal from AOC, who was just very shocked, was a highlight. I loved it. And then H-Bomber Guy's just on Twitter afterwards. Nobody clipped that.
I mean, also the sheer number of people watching the stream, like, 500,000 people. Like, I'm just trying to remember if that's bigger than some US states. I don't think it's far off. Like, how many people live in Wyoming?
US populations.
Yeah, well, the population of Wyoming is 578,000.
Wowzers.
So
yeah, so like if you throw in like all of the other streamers that were streaming at the time, like, more people were watching this stream.
Yeah, more people watching this than there are in Wyoming. Which has 3 votes in the Electoral College.
So does that mean we should give Among Us votes in the Electoral College? I
mean, it would probably go to the Democrats, so yes.
Let's do it. Woo!
I mean, it also just sort of reinforces how fucked up the Electoral College is.
Yeah, well, I don't like talking about the Electoral College or first past the post.
No, well, they are absolutely dreadful.
Indeed.
Systems for electing people. But I think it's. I mean, how much impact it will actually have is hard to say. But I mean, Trump won, I think, Wisconsin by like 70,000 votes. So I think, if 500,000 people more, if those people watching all go out and vote, that'd be great. Yeah. And it's probably for the most part a stream. People watching a stream of Among Us. Historically, that's probably not a population that votes hugely, and which will probably also lean Democrat.
Yeah, especially considering like the 2 people who are elected officials who are on the stream were both Democrat, and not just progressive Democrats as well. It was just Democrats.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Like you got to remember is, AOC is probably gonna run for president in 8 years.
I mean, we can hope.
Yeah. So, I mean, this kind of stuff won't hurt.
No. I don't know if there's been a backlash to it. Like, how many Republicans coming up and saying, "Wow, what's she doing playing Among Us?" Wow,
I
wow,
don't think
wow.
Republicans would need to have even
Yeah,
a basic understanding of what happened. I
yeah. They would need
think,
to know what a Twitch is.
yeah, like I remember the story of AOC from a couple of months ago trying to get put the bill through in Congress to stop the Army esports team from broadcasting on Twitch because they've been
Yeah,
shady about it, and
yeah,
she even tweeted afterwards like she had trying to explain what Twitch was to like people
yeah.
in the Congress. So I imagine a lot of Republican Congress people just kind of did not know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, we're not going to get like Mitch McConnell playing Fall Guys or something. As funny as that would be.
That would be that would probably get more people watching, but for completely different reasons. Let's move on though. I love AOC. She's great.
She's the best.
She's the best.
I hope she doesn't get milkshake ducked because she's the best.
What do we got next? Xbox head. That's Phil Spencer. Xbox head. Bethesda purchase wasn't to keep games away from other platforms. This is from Brendan Sinclair over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda parent ZeniMax last month opens the door to making franchises like The Elder Scrolls, Doom, and Fallout exclusive to the Xbox gaming ecosystem. But that wasn't necessarily the plan, Xbox head Phil Spencer told Kotaku in an interview. When asked if it was possible for Microsoft to recoup the $7.5 billion it spent on Bethesda if it didn't put The Elder Scrolls 6 on PlayStation to maximize sales, Spencer quickly said it was, then added a bit more on how he viewed the acquisition. Quote, the deal was not done to take games away from other player bases like that. Nowhere in the documentation that we put together was, how do we keep other players from playing these games? We want more people to be able to play games, not fewer people to be able to go play games. End quote. Then he said, he added that between Xbox consoles, PCs, and platforms supporting Game Pass, quote, I don't have to go ship those games on any other platform other than the platforms that we support in order to make that kind of deal work for us. Whatever that means, end quote. Elsewhere in the interview, Spencer talked about plans to expand Game Pass, saying in the coming years, Microsoft will likely add the ability for Xbox One owners to stream Xbox Series S/X games on their system. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so like this is the question that everybody's been kind of asking since Bethesda was bought by Microsoft. Was like, oh my god, are they going to make all of Bethesda's games exclusive to the Xbox platform? The Xbox platform. And we haven't had you on since that happened. So what do you think?
What do I think? I have heard very good arguments kind of from both sides, as it were. That on the one hand, you don't spend $7.5 billion acquiring ZeniMax and then not make them exclusive. Like, it makes no sense. But on the other hand, it's also leaving an awful lot of money on the table if Elder Scrolls 6 is released exclusively on Xbox. So at the end of the day, Phil Spencer is an executive at Microsoft, and I don't necessarily believe a word that comes out of his mouth when he says, "Oh, we have no plans for whatever." No, they absolutely have plans, one way or the other. I think that the way Microsoft is seeing this is how this is. I think we have to see it through the lens that they're seeing most things in that. Fundamentally, this isn't necessarily about selling Xboxes so much as it's about selling Game Pass. And the thing is that, say, for example, the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out and is multi-platform, you'll have to pay presumably about $70, £60 for it on PlayStation, and it will be included in Game Pass. And that's before we get to the question of how they deal with DLC.
Yeah.
So it becomes a selling point for Games Pass either way. What I think will actually happen, what I think would be smart for them to happen, would be to have the top tier Bethesda games, so Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, those remain multi-platform because those, well, maybe not Doom, but those are games that sell millions of copies and have really long tails, and it makes no sense for them not to be available. but the sort of like next tier down, so Dishonored, Prey, Wolfenstein, those are the ones that you can sort of like have as exclusives in order to sell consoles, because those don't do. I mean, they haven't done gangbusters in the past, but they kind of make sense to sort of have around as to sort of like build prestige for the consoles.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page on that regard. In that sort of like, I can't see Elder Scrolls 6 being exclusive to Xbox platforms, even though that would include PC as well. Which is, I imagine where the bigger player base is for Elder Scrolls. But because it's such a Titanic franchise, that was a poor. I meant Titanic as in big, not Titanic
as in big,
as in
not
the boat.
as in not. Yeah, it's not hitting an iceberg. It's
not hitting an iceberg.
I know
because it's such a huge franchise.
Yeah.
And it's historically been available. I mean, it's Skyrim, right? It's available.
Yeah, I mean, you can play Skyrim. You can play Skyrim on the Switch, a game that came out in 2011.
I think something like Elder Scrolls and Fallout probably will be treated like Minecraft in a way of just like it's going out on everything. But for example, if you get like an Evil Within 3, that'll be an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, they released Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest on the Switch, but that doesn't mean that we're getting Gears of War on the Switch.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to put Gears of War on the Switch.
No.
Whereas like Cuphead and Ori, like I feel like would be able to find more of an audience on Switch.
Yeah, well, they did.
They did pretty exactly. Well. Like I think when they say they're going to do it on a case by case basis, I think that's probably accurate. I think they'll have all the scenarios available to them for each game, and then they'll figure out which way is the best way to do it. Right? Like the one that's interesting to me is Starfield, not Elder Scrolls, because I feel like Starfield, not like it's been announced, but like it's not a franchise, right? Like that's ever come out before. So it's like, is that going to be an Xbox exclusive? Because I could see them making the case for it being an Xbox exclusive, just because it's a brand new Bethesda game studios game, right? Like you're not taking it away from anyone on PlayStation in that scenario, because it was never on PlayStation.
It's not like Elder Scrolls with a 30-year history attached to a PC, as it were.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, Fallout. But the thing about Starfield is there would be nothing stopping them from releasing it exclusively on Game Pass platforms, which will include Xbox and PC, and then expanding it as they see fit once in order to expand the tail of it. They would have that option. And that would be probably what I would expect them to do, honestly, possibly with Fallout and Elder Scrolls. There'll be some reason to get them on Xbox first, whether that's just them being cheaper, or having a more comprehensive DLC suite, or just being a timed exclusive.
Yeah, like I imagine, like you said at the beginning, somewhere in this discussion, it's Game Pass, right? It's that is the reason. Like new games are going to be $70. So you can. Do you want to pay for the Elder Scrolls for $70, or do you want to just get it at Game Pass and then get all these other 200 games that also come with Game Pass, including all of?
I mean, I think
Xbox Studios.
In as much as Microsoft might have a long-term strategy for this, it might well be as simple as, listen, this might be a strategy to get Game Pass on other platforms.
Potentially.
This might be a strong arm Sony and saying, listen, if you want Elder Scrolls and Fallout on PlayStation, we're not stopping you from using Game Pass and giving us a slice of your pie. And that sort of ties into sort of the epic Apple battle, as it were, as to where money goes, platform holders and publishers.
Yeah, it gets a little bit complicated in that scenario.
Because I would imagine that in the current situation, if Microsoft were to put such an offer to Sony, I think Sony's answer would be to tell Microsoft to shove it up their ass.
Pretty much. Yeah, because obviously, like they don't want people subscribing to an Xbox subscription service on PlayStation, especially when they have their own subscription service, even though it works completely differently.
But in terms of this specific statement from Phil Spencer, he's essentially saying nothing about nothing.
No, it's like we could, if we wanted to, we didn't buy them and think, oh no, we get all their games. But at the same time, he's also saying, like, if we want to, we will. You know, like, and we'll see,
Yeah.
because the Elder Scrolls is fucking years away at this point anyway. So it's
Right,
really
exactly.
a non-issue.
Unless and until ZeniMax releases something, besides the stuff that's going to be PlayStation 4 exclusive because they're locked into contracts anyway, it's kind of a non-issue and probably will remain a non-issue until they're releasing an Elder Scrolls 6, like something that big. But I do think it's important to remember that that Microsoft's end goal is selling Game Pass.
Yes, 100%.
And beyond that, I don't want to say they're platform agnostic, but the sort of like traditional console war is not necessarily their agenda.
No, they're very much about inclusivity in terms of they're trying to get as many people as possible to play, because their cost of barrier of entry is wide ranging, right? Like if you've got, I don't know, a phone, like you can get Game Pass, which comes with xCloud, and that's the cheapest point of entry for playing Xbox games, and you can go all the way up to the Xbox Series X, which is the most powerful console. So they've got that wide range of just like whatever you can afford, that's how much you can pay, more or less. So Phil Spencer said it where it was like, I can't remember his exact wording, but he wanted 6 billion gamers or something like that. I can't remember the exact phrasing of the quote.
Well, that's hyperbole.
It's been a long. It's like company speak to basically say we want to be able to allow as many people as possible to play games.
Well, no, what the subtext for that is we want as many people as possible to pay for Game Pass
games. I mean, yeah, like to play Xbox games. But I can't really fault them for that part. Like we want as many people as possible.
Well, no, I mean that's the thing is, it's corporate executives in the business of making money for the company. I mean I'm not blaming them. I don't think that we need to, can or should read anything into this.
No, you're absolutely right.
Because the truth is we don't know what Microsoft's policy regarding Bethesda games is going to be, and it's entirely possible that Microsoft doesn't know what their policy is going to be.
I know. Well, I mean, the next probably 2 Bethesda published games are both going to be on PlayStation 5.
Right.
So
because of contractual obligation.
Yeah. So like it's like, well, yeah, like they're probably still figuring it out. Like when they're saying we don't have a plan for X, what Phil's probably actually saying is we've actually got plans for everything, and right now we're trying to figure out which one's the best plan to go for.
Yeah, so it's like here are a number of scenarios. Which one makes us the most money, short term, long term? Which one sells us the most Game Pass subscriptions?
Yeah, I imagine there's some goodwill in the equation somewhere, because
just as an aside, I think that what the Bethesda purchase means more than anything is I think that they have thrown Obsidian under the bus with this. Because I think that the value of Obsidian to Microsoft was basically having Bethesda Lite, and just now they have the real thing. So
I don't know. I feel like with Bethesda, Obsidian, and now In Exile, I feel like you could just like no one could say Xbox isn't the place for Western RPGs. Like, because they have a lot of the companies that make a lot of well-regarded Western RPGs.
I think we're probably 5 to 10 years away from Bethesda Softworks and Obsidian getting merged by Microsoft, honestly.
Does that mean I'll finally get New Vegas 2?
Why is everyone so desperate for New Vegas 2? I don't get it.
I don't think it's necessarily literally New Vegas 2. I just think it's that New Vegas was the best one, like of the modern Fallouts. But substantially. Like
when it ran, it was.
I mean, yeah, but all the Fallouts were fucking busted as fuck when they came out.
That one was super busted.
Yeah, but they fixed it, and it was amazing, and it was an amazing game.
I mean, I will take jank if the game is exceptional. Like I'm prepared to love things in spite of its flaws, not because of them.
Like New Vegas was head and shoulders above 3.
I didn't finish New Vegas; it just didn't grab me.
That's fair enough. I would
I like
yeah.
I like 4 a lot. I do kind of think Boston was a very boring setting.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like the thing for me is just like the 1 and 2, like the writing was just so much stronger in 1 and 2 than in 3. 3 was a big letdown for
Well,
a few
yeah, but it
reasons.
was but the number of people who worked on 1 and 2 and then who also worked on 3 is probably zero.
Yeah,
Like there is no overlap there. I think between
I
the old Black
agree.
Bethesda.
Like they're different games. They might as well have been different franchises, but they used the
Yeah,
Fallout name to make it. So it's like, yeah, I couldn't help but feel that pang of, oh no. Okay, I'll just turn the radio on and ignore the story, and I'll wander around this very pretty wasteland. At the time, it was.
yeah. I think with the 3D Fallouts, you sort of have to take them based on what they are, not what you want them to be, or even what you think Fallout should be.
No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, yeah. No, no, absolutely. I
Because otherwise,
absolutely get it.
otherwise you'll never be happy.
I mean, I'm never happy.
And then you
Anyway.
turn into one of those angry old Fallout fans who were,
You're
shitty before regular
back in
fans were
my
shitty.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's on my side now, Patrick. Fallout 76 came out.
Well, oh
I'm
God,
just kidding.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Like, besides, I've had my RPG. Like, when Fallout 3 came out, like Western RPGs were kind of a bit on the ropes. But like in the intervening time, we've had the Mass Effect series, and we've had the
I mean,
Divinity Original Sin series, Wasteland came
I'm
back.
gonna call, bullshit on your statement by pointing out that Mass Effect came out a year before Fallout 3.
Yeah, but Mass Effect 2 came out
I
after
mean,
that.
Mass Effect 2 is better. Come at me, but
Oh no, Mass Effect 2 is better. That was kind of the point I was getting at. But we've also seen like Wasteland come back, and the Divinity Original Sin series are really amazing. Like, I couldn't be happier about how RPGs are at the
and The
moment.
Witcher's a
And The
mainstream
Witcher is a
video game
thing, yeah.
series now,
Um, but anyway,
and Assassin's Creed is an RPG now.
I don't.
I mean, no, it's not that Assassin's Creed's an RPG. It's that every video game is an open world,
Every
climb a
video
fort,
game is an
climb a
open world
tower, and
RPG now. Like, oh look, another 50 to 100 hour game.
yay! I'm climbing a tower.
I'm jumping into a hay bale. Now I'm leveling up my stats. Ooh, 2.5% damage increase. Yay! Oh no. I'm going down that road. So instead, I'm going to skip to the next news story. We're going to talk about game sales.
Yay!
Yay, we got the NPD September Breakdown, and I was looking forward to this NPD Breakdown, Parek, because it had Avengers in it, and I was very curious how Avengers was going to do. The top 10 best selling games of September 2020. Number 1, Marvel's Avengers. Number 2, Super Mario 3D All Stars. Number 3, Madden NFL 20. Number 4, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Number 5, NBA 2K21. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 7, Crusader Kings 3.
Woo!
Number 8, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 9, Star Wars Squadrons. Number 10, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And also in the top 20 was, as a new release, was Crash Bandicoot 4 at number 11. Marvel's Avengers, proof that you can have the biggest IP in the world and you can slap it on a game and it'll sell well no matter what.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised at that because everyone seemed really down on Avengers.
I mean, I've talked a lot, but I played
But
it
it's
for
also the biggest IP in the world. So.
yeah, I played it for like 60 hours in like 2 weeks. It fills a very specific place in my life in wherein like I listen to podcasts, and when I'm listening to podcasts, I also tend to be doing other things. And one of the things I do is I like play like games that don't require too much of my focus. Like I wouldn't listen to a podcast while I'm playing Amnesia Rebirth. But Avengers, where it's like once I've done the story and it's like cool, I'm just playing as Cap and throwing his shield and stuff, and it was just like yeah,
and all who oppose the shield must yield.
must yield. Yeah, exactly. And they do.
So it's basically filling an MMO niche for you. It's
Yeah, I mean,
like
Avengers.
like
It's in the
Destiny.
same.
I mean,
Yeah, it's in the same
it
place as
sounds a lot
Division,
like Destiny. I haven't played Avengers.
Yeah, like it's in the same place as like Division and Destiny, that kind of thing. I mean, the campaign is really good. Like, I wouldn't recommend you spend full price on playing it, but it's a really good campaign with good, pretty decent writing, really good characters, some really nice character moments, excellent voice acting. And then like you get to the mid game and the end game where it's just like go do all these missions over and over again to raise your power level and get your gear and grind basically until the next content comes out, which we'll get to later. But yeah, like it's number one because it's Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
the first patch they put out for Avengers fixed 1,000 bugs, which tells you everything you need to know about how the game launched. It was not ready. It should not have come out. And I'm talking to someone who enjoys the game, and I'm like, it shouldn't have come out. Like fucking G, it was busted when it came out.
Can I just ask a quick question? Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that's the one that came out last year?
It is the one that came out last year.
Did it get re-released or something? I don't pay attention.
It is sticking in there, probably because of
the current difficulties.
Warzone came out in like March, and even though that's a free-to-play separate game, when you download it, you end up in the Modern Warfare menus, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I've had this theory because it suddenly resurged in March when Warzone came out, and it's been around ever since. Like I have this theory that it's because of Warzone.
Okay.
Which is why it's been hanging around. It's the best. Yeah, we'll get to that part in a moment. But
is there going to be a Call of Duty this year?
Yes, Black Ops Cold War.
Oh right, yes. Oh yeah, that's the one with like the digital ghost of Ronald Reagan in it. And it's yay!
God. It's hard to keep track, like because COD normally has its time.
Well, it usually comes out in November, so that's
it'll have like its time where like everybody scurries away from it, so it comes out, and but because it's coming out as more or less a launch title, for the next gen consoles, it's coming out with like 12 other games. So it's easier to sort of go, is COD coming out? Because, you know, Yakuza, Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk, Spider-Man, Demon's Souls, they're all coming out at the same time. I love the fact that Crusader Kings 3 got in the top 10.
Yeah, that's really great to see, actually.
Like, I tried it because it's on Game Pass, and I couldn't get into it, but I love the stories, Parag. I love the stories.
Yeah, well, making your horse Pope and so forth. Yeah. So you would think that Crusader Kings would be my favorite game ever, but I'm actually really terrible at it.
Same.
I don't know why, because it does the thing that I don't know about Crusader Kings 3 because I can't run it because I've got like a 7-year-old MacBook. But Crusader Kings does the thing that all the Paradox games do in that they're not well tutorialized at all.
No, not at all. Like I downloaded it on Game Pass. I played through the tutorial, and I feel like I was just as lost as when I started.
Yeah, the tutorial is basically go watch a Let's Play on YouTube.
Yeah, like I want to try and get into it before the end of the year, like because like it sounds amazing, but it's also.
I think if you know what's going on, it's absolutely magical, but it is not intuitive at all.
No, not at all. Like I ended up just dropping it and playing something else.
Yeah. But I really am glad that it's finding an audience because it is obviously it is clearly, you know,
it has sold the Star Wars game.
It's been out longer than the Star Wars game, although that might be more reflection of the loss of kudos that the Star Wars games have had.
Yeah, that surprises me a little bit as well because Jedi was pretty well received last year. Crash Bandicoot only coming in at 11 was a surprise to me. Like I assumed nostalgia was just gonna destroy, like just throw it straight at the top.
I mean, I'm not the person to talk to about this because I am the person who is continually surprised that anyone still cares about Crash Bandicoot, let alone they ever did. But then I have a very snobbish theory that the only people who like Crash Bandicoot are people who didn't play Mario 64.
I mean, you say Mario, yeah, and then look at number 2, Super Mario.
And look who's number 2.
Mario 64. Which is I mean, a new release Nintendo game these days seems to be guaranteed. Like a spot
Yeah,
somewhere high up on this on these
which
sales lists.
uh, I'm kind of angry about, because I wonder if part of the reason why it's doing so well is because it's going to be a timed exclusive, and it
Yeah, I'm
shouldn't.
angry
And
about that.
it's stupid that it's a timed exclusive. I mean, my hope is that what will happen is come March the 31st that the games will be available individually. But I hope this is not something that Nintendo or the wider industry is encouraged to doing, because Nintendo just announced that they're re-releasing the original Fire Emblem on
So,
NES, localized for the first time, and that's going to be a timed exclusive.
like,
And I hope this is not a thing that they're going to be doing, because it makes absolutely no damn sense, especially in
no.
an era of digital downloads.
I mean, I hope not too, because I tried out for the when we were doing the weekly the review podcast a couple of weeks ago. I tried out Mario Brothers 35, the
Mm.
online one, which is also only going to be available until March. And
Why? I mean, that's a battle royale. Like, surely that lives or dies based on its long tail. It's especially over
it's
Nintendo, because
longevity.
they
Like,
usually
I I
have a
download
very long tail.
yeah, I downloaded it and played it, and I thought it was great, and that just made me mad because I was like, well, it's going to be gone in 6 months, like,
Yeah.
but I'm really enjoying it, and it's like,
I mean,
cool.
that could go on two ways. It's either a flash in the pan, everyone's playing it for a week, and then it never gets a sustainable user base after that, or it's something people are still playing 6 months time.
Yeah, like you'll find. I think it'll still have a player. It won't have as big a player base. No game does, but it'll still have a player base. 6 months from now. I just wonder how big a deal it's going to be. Like in 6 months, 5 months, whatever it is now from this podcast when we sit down to do the whole. There's a new story because they took away the Mario games and everybody's mad. How big that movement is.
Yeah.
We've got some notes on this month's games, last month's games. Launch month dollar sales of Avengers. I didn't write that part in. The launch month dollar sales of Avengers were the second highest for any superhero game in the United States history, behind Marvel's Spider-Man. Super Mario 3D All Stars generated the second highest launch month physical dollar sales of any 2020 release, and it was the sixth biggest launch month physical dollar sales for any Nintendo published title in history.
Right, because people are buying the physical copy so they can flip them in March,
For
and the physical copies sold out.
£1 billion.
People are doing that. People are going putting them on eBay for hundreds of
No,
pounds.
yeah, absolutely. Like, but that tells me two things.
That's
One,
another reason why this is shitty, Nintendo.
I mean that the actual fact, the note tells me two things. One, Mario 3D All Stars did sell really well, and two, Avengers sold incredibly well because it sold better um, than that. So that's like, oh wow, okay. The last note we have: Crusader Kings 3 generated the highest launch month dollar sales of any title published by Paradox Interactive.
And that will continue to sell well for the next 5 years. We'll be in humble bundles and have a bunch of DLC.
Yes, and it's in Game Pass if you have Game Pass for PC.
Oh, is it?
It is, yeah. That's how I tried it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's I can't remember if they only announced it like a little bit before came out, but
I feel like it was 18 months ago. But, time has no meaning, so it could have been last month.
time has gone. Like, yeah, we're in March again.
No, it wasn't that long ago, but I definitely saw like intro videos for it not that long ago.
Yeah. I'll just quickly run through the top 10 best-selling games of 2020 year to date. Number 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 2, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 3, The Last of Us Part 2. Number 4, Madden NFL 21. Number 5, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 6, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Number 7, Marvel's Avengers. Number 8, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Number 9, MLB The Show 20. Number 10, Super Mario 3D All Stars. Good on those games. That's all I've got really to say. And Avengers getting into the top 10 straight away was not a surprise. Mario 3D All Stars will probably not last too long in the top 10.
Well, no, because all the physical copies have been sold.
Yeah, because like October. Watch Dogs is out in October. So. And I imagine that's going to sell quite well. It's Marvel's Avengers is where I think the cutoff's going to be for. Because you got like Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed, COD. Those will definitely all be in the top 10. Because I just don't want Final Fantasy VII Remake to not be in the top 10 best-selling games of the year. Call me selfish.
Well,
and I don't care that much.
I
Just
mean,
in case anybody I don't actually care all that much.
well, I mean, Final Fantasy Remake is really good, but it also, you play it and you're done.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really have much of a long tail to it.
Oh god, no! I wouldn't consider playing it again, even though I absolutely loved it. Right, what we got next? Oh yes. Speaking of Avengers, Marvel's Avengers Next Gen versions delayed into 2021. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have delayed the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions of Marvel's Avengers until an unknown date in 2021. Until that point, you will be able to play the game via backwards compatibility, Crystal Dynamics said in a blog post, although of course this won't be possible for those with copies of the game on disc who have bought a PlayStation 5 Digital Edition or an Xbox Series S. Quote, We've made the decision to shift our PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S launch to next year to ensure that we give our team the time to deliver a next-gen experience showcasing all that this game is meant to be. More details to come. Until then, however, you'll be able to continue playing the current-gen Marvel's Avengers game on next-gen platforms to take advantage of their powerful hardware, be it via inserting a physical disc or re-downloading the game. Two of the most obvious benefits of this are improved frame rates and faster loading times. In addition, players who make the jump to PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S will still be able to play co-op with their friends on PS4 and Xbox One respectively, as well as carry their existing save game forward to the next generation of consoles. End quote. The release of the game's next hero, Kate Bishop, is also being delayed. She was expected to arrive this month with fellow Hawkeye Clint Barton shortly afterwards as a continuation of the same story arc. There's no mention of the PlayStation exclusive edition of Spider-Man, who was always scheduled for a 2021 release. Quote, we know fans are hungry for new content, but delivering a fun experience is our priority. With this in mind, we've decided to push Kate Bishop's Operation launch back a bit out of October. We're sorry for this slight delay, but we're dedicated as a team to quality first. End quote. Quality first, eh? Is that why the game came out in the state it did? Crystal.
It's a PR statement from an executive. What do you want?
But it's funny.
He's not going to say, yes, our game came out because it was busted because we released it too soon.
Could you imagine if he did that? Just be like, yeah, we fucked it.
I mean, it'd be great, but he'd be brushing up his CV the next day.
He'd just be like, look, we're delaying Kate Bishop because we don't want that operation to launch in the same state we launched the game in. Sorry. But if you said sorry sincerely and not like I just said it.
Yeah, but he's not going to because that's
no, he's not going to. No. There's very few companies that can get away with that kind of communication style. None of them are AAA.
No.
Avengers has got this problem where I can see why they like 2020, like throughout 2020, if someone says, well, you need to delay a thing, I'm like, cool, I get it. You're all working from home, coronavirus, pandemic. Cool.
There's any number of excuses this year. Pick one.
Yeah, just pick one. But at the same time, Avengers has a problem where it needs content. It needs content right now. Like, the campaign is 10 to 15 hours long. Like, people are now starting to... Like, how long has it been out? Like, it came out at the beginning of September, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's been out... Say a month and a half, for the sake of argument. It's
probably close to 2 months now.
Yeah,
actually.
It probably is actually closer to 2 months. But it's been out for like a month and a half, 2 months, and people have been running through the same content over and over again. Even the people like me who are dipping in and out of it, like the people who are hardcore playing it and who played like 1 billion hours of it in the first couple of weeks are probably done with it, like burned out on it, need new content. But even people like me who are just dipping back in and out of it every now and again are all sort of to the point, like, speaking from experience, where it's like, we need more stuff to do. I need new stuff to do. Like, I need this new character, basically. I need the new missions for this new character and the story that comes with it.
So, here's my counter argument, which is that now is probably not the time to be updating the game because it's going to get completely lost in the news cycle come November when new consoles, Call of Duty, Cyberpunk, etc., get released. And as opposed to having a content drop in like the doldrums of January, February, when people are actually able to talk about it, kind of makes a lot more sense. I mean, you're right in that it kind of sucks for the game now, but as a long-term business decision, it might make more sense to release it when there's potentially more eyes on it.
No, I feel like it is. It should hopefully, as much as I want to play it immediately. It should be because Kate Bishop rocks.
Yeah, she's the best. She's the best Hawkeye.
And like that's what happens there because Marvel Comics have got the stipulation with Avengers the game is that whenever you add a new character to the game, they have to have a storyline. Like, so you can't just drop a new character into the game and be like, cool, now you can play as Hawkeye. It'd be like, cool, but there has to be a storyline and an introduction to the character. So every character they drop in gets their own storyline. And I was really looking forward to this one. Like, I feel like dropping it in October would have been fine, because it gives people who have the game a chance to play it one more time before Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed, COD, new consoles, like whatever thing is going to consume their lives for November comes. But yeah, it's like if they delay it and they push it into everything else that's coming out from like mid-November on, that would be a terrible idea because nobody's going to... Like, people might want to go back to Avengers in, say, December, January time, but they
also might not. That's the thing.
Yeah, but that's why getting this DLC out ahead of all the big stuff would have worked in their favor more so than... Like, because you can drop Kate Bishop in January, but if everyone's forgotten about the game, then it kind of doesn't matter. Like, that's the issue they're currently facing. Because a lot of people who are playing this game and have every intention of going back are going to drop it because there's something for everyone. I feel like happening in November. Like, I'm going to be consumed by Yakuza 7. Like, everyone's got a game that they're probably like really, really looking forward to coming out in November, or even a brand new console to play them on. And it's not great. It's not a great look for Avengers. We'll do this next one. You made a prediction about this last year, and now it's all coming to fruition this year about in-game advertising.
Did I?
You did.
Again, time has no meaning, so...
You were a year early. 2K Games apologizes for the way unskippable ads were implemented in NBA 2K21. Not the ads themselves. This is from Sharif Saeed over at VG 24/7, who writes, 2K Games issued a statement a couple of days ago addressing the negative press the NBA 2K21 has been receiving over the past few days as more and more players run into the game's unskippable ads, which play before episodes of the in-game 2K TV episodes. According to the publisher, the way the ads were implemented was the problem, not the ads themselves. Nevertheless, 2K Games vowed to fix the issue with future 2K TV episodes. Quote, as many are aware, in recent years, ads have been integrated into 2K TV segments. Yesterday's 2K TV ad placement impacted our players' experience in a way we didn't intend, as these ads are not meant to run as part of the pre-game introduction. This will be fixed in future episodes. Thanks for your continued feedback. End quote. And that's the official statement. It's like trying to watch a fucking YouTube video.
Yeah.
The new multiple 15-second unskippable ads. Thanks, Google. I
mean, I shouldn't complain because, it's like, I don't know about you, but now not that I ever do, but if I'm watching terrestrial TV, it's like, and the ads come on, I just like mute them and do something else for 5 minutes.
That's toilet break time, right?
Yeah, so like maybe complaining about a 15-second ad in front of YouTube is a bit spoiled.
No ads on this channel because we're not monetized.
Yeah. You're not selling mattresses, or
if you ever see an ad come up before this channel, it's because I've hit a content ID claim. Something happened, and there's a content ID claim on the video. No, go on. Go for it.
I mean, for me, like the big the big example I can think of like advertising games that sort of worked well was when Burnout Paradise did it.
Oh, yeah.
And they would have like billboards and like they would have. I remember they had a campaign. It came out in 2008. They had a campaign for Barack Obama because they had billboards in that game, and it sort of like fits in quite naturally. And you'd think a basketball game would sort of.
Where could you put the unobtrusive advert in basketball games?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, do they not have like a whole ring of adverts around the court?
Pretty sure they do. I just watched The Last Dance on Netflix. I should be able to answer that question. But all I can think of is Jordan doing the dunks. I'm pretty sure they do have adverts around it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a more organic way to do it than just, here's a word from our sponsors, Kentucky Mustards, fried chicken, whatever. I don't know. Does it not feel to anyone else like NBA 2K games just have become like this weird petri dish for every shitty monetization strategy that the video game industry
get away with this year? Yeah, was it last year when they were it was the virtual coins? There was a thing.
Well, it was this year when they it was this year when they started being like it was like the big first game to go for $70.
It was the first one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which is, and that's probably overdue. I mean, I'm not going to say whether that's right or wrong, but it's probably telling that it's 2K. Because
I've had my say on that. I probably shouldn't say.
Yeah, because it's a game that sells a lot and which kind of has a mass audience and which gamers don't pay attention to because it's a sports game.
Yeah, I mean, sports games are cool. They have their place, and obviously they're incredibly popular.
But they also have the absolute shittiest business practices. So all the the hits, the season passes, the loot boxes.
Ultimate Team, which is
they all get they all sort of cling like parasites to the FIFAs, the Maddens, the 2Ks.
They're not loot boxes, Park. Remember, they're surprise mechanics. They're like a Kinder Egg. Yeah, no, you're right. Like sports games generally tend to find that sports games do have the worst kind of monetization practices. Like when it all blew up about Battlefront 2, I remember there was that subsection of people who played FIFA Ultimate Team who were just like, this has been going on for years. All they've done is they've tried to take it from the sports game into the non-sports game and try and apply it there. But that's because we're all more like, in terms of podcasters and journalists and people who talk about video games a lot on social medias, we're don't paying attention to Battlefront 2 as opposed to we're not so much paying attention to FIFA.
No. Whereas on the other hand, the people who buy FIFA, it might be the only game they play all year, the only game they buy all year, and they're not plugged into the video game scene at all.
Yeah.
And for them, this is just it's like the frog boiling water. It's like this is just
how,
the thing.
This is just how it works.
And the fact that they're not super online, and engaged all the time is probably the reason why this has become the experimental ground zero for the crappy business practices.
The experimental ground zero of crappy business practices.
Basically, what I'm saying is there's a lot of ideas. What I suppose I'm grasping towards is that if they're doing this in NBA 2K, they're probably going to start doing it in Call of Duty in a year's time. Unless there's a backlash. I mean, and even then.
Even then, it's not 100% guaranteed. But backlash isn't 100% guaranteed to stop something.
And here's the thing. I don't think advertisements in game are inherently.
Well, you just brought up a good example and gave a good example of how it could work in an NBA game.
Yeah, it's Cyberpunk's a bad example because it's. It's set in the future, but if it was Watch Dogs, say, and it's in a fictionalized version of a real modern city, and there were a bunch of billboards in the background, I don't think anyone would blink. I mean, as long as it's not for Planned Parenthood or the Breitbart or something, but it's.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, it'd be weird if it was Planned Parenthood, and
I mean, it would sort of undercut the message of Watch Dogs, but. I wouldn't put that past Ubisoft.
No, it works. It'd
be a bit weird if it was in Assassin's Creed, but you just you play. Well, yes, if you're playing Assassin's Creed, Valhalla and you're riding past Stonehenge, and suddenly there's a giant billboard telling you to vote for Trump.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, okay.
But
But
there's
there are ways to do
places you
it.
can put it in where it's not obnoxious and gross.
Well, like Call of Duty, you've got maps, right?
I mean,
Those
Call of
maps
Duty
may
is an
have,
arm of
like-
the industrial military complex already. So.
Yeah, but I mean, like those maps may have bus stops and billboards and ruined buses and places where you can put ads. You know what I mean? Like, and they'll be there, and people are going to see them so many times because people play these games for thousands of hours. And
you could be creative with it. Like if you were doing it in like Black Ops Cold War, you could have like a sort of retro 80s ad. Or if you were, I don't know, Coke, you could run the ads that you had from the... I mean, they're not going to do this because no one's got this kind of originality or...
No, sure, of course not.
Or even the budget for it, but it would be cool.
Play of the game brought to you by Planned Parenthood. Like, you know, just like...
Or by Betamax or something. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely not going to happen.
That's what it'll be if it's going to be anything. I mean, you got to remember the Call of Duty series is the same series that gave us loot boxes raining down on the beaches of Normandy. Yeah. So,
no, it's going to be like Mountain Dew and Doritos and
Monster Energy.
Yeah.
And what are those Hot Pockets? Hot Pockets. Anyway. Let's move on.
Sorry, I've ruined everything again.
You haven't ruined everything. I love our conversations about this stuff. It's great. I need to have you on more. I know I say that every time, but I'm
just saying if it turns into Call of Duty. Well, I was going to say if Call of Duty turns into a dystopian nightmare, and then I remembered. Oh right, yeah.
Moving on.
Look, if Breitbart starts putting ads in Assassin's Creed, I want it to be known that I called it.
Okay, I'll clip this. And I'll put it in a folder on my computer. If it ever happens, I'll bring it back out. And I'll be like, see? Patrick. And I'm hire Patrick. He's a better video game analyst than most video game analysts. Anyway.
They said I was mad.
But I could just see the future. Speaking of dystopia, Sony releases free Black Lives Matter PS4 theme. This is from Taylor Lyles over at The Verge. He writes, Sony has provided a new way for PS4 owners to show their support for the Black Lives Matter movement inside their consoles. Last week, the company released a new static theme on the PlayStation Store called the Black Lives Matter theme. The theme is available now for free on the PlayStation Store. As you can see from the images above, I should have proofread what I copy-pasted.
It's like black and white with a raised fist.
When the theme is enabled, the lower portion of the PS4's user interface displays a solid black wallpaper with a yellow outline of the black raised fist, a symbol associated with the movement on the right-hand side of the screen. The theme displays the hashtag BLM across a striped grey background on the upper side of the UI.
I downloaded it straight away.
Oh, same. Like, I haven't changed my Final Fantasy VII one, but...
Well, I haven't changed it because I've changed around back to the Layers of Fear one because it's really good for Halloween.
Wow, that's good.
Because it's spooky.
Everybody's gone to the Rapture. There's a good dynamic theme as well. I'm using the FF7 remake one. I've been using all year.
Yeah, I've been using that for months actually.
It makes the menu theme Final Fantasy music like
it like plays God, what's it called? Those Who Fight.
Yeah, I don't know the names of the songs.
Isn't that
just Tifa's theme?
Oh no, I got the premium one when I upped my PlayStation Plus subscription, so I get the one it's like Cloud looking up at the Shinra building and it plays the battle music.
I've got the Tifa Starry Night sitting on the well.
Okay,
that's cool.
I mean, the BLM theme's nice. There's a lot less effort put into it compared to the International Women's Day one.
Or the Pride one.
But it probably got put together a lot quicker. I do think it's kind of, I don't want to say it's weird because it is nice, but on the other hand, it's not like anyone's going to see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if it's just your console theme, it's not like you're saying to the world, yes, I support Black Lives Matter.
Well, people see mine every now and again on a stream, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, the comments to the announcement were pretty much what you'd expect.
No, it was it was the reaction that...
Yeah, it's
you click on the post.
It's like inevitable as the fucking tides.
Yeah, I just went looking for it because I knew it was there somewhere.
I just went on Twitter like block.
Exactly. See,
If anyone here's got a blue check mark, I'm just going to block them, and then I
like,
never have to.
yeah, like oh. But my favorite was there was a thread. Um, by the time I got there, there was a thread like partway down, and so it was someone with the same take as about 200 other racist assholes.
Yeah.
Of well, I'm gonna buy an Xbox now. They've never supported Black Lives
That'll
Matter.
show them.
And then the reply, someone replied them with just like, "Sure about that?" That's a screenshot of Xbox supporting Black Lives Matter. And then the guy responded to that tweet by saying, "Well, I'll get a Nintendo." And then someone else replied underneath with, "Yeah, about that." And then it was a screenshot of Nintendo supporting Black Lives Matter. And then it got me thinking. It was like, huh, like if all of these racists were serious about not supporting a company that supported Black Lives Matter, they'd have to stop playing video games, and we could be rid of them forever.
I have a squirrel living on my Animal Crossing island who greets me with "fuck the police."
Oh, I miss Animal Crossing. I haven't played it for a long time.
Oh, there's a Halloween update now. It's basically just grinding pumpkins.
Is it better than the Egg Day update?
Oh yeah, it's much better because it's optional. You just grow some pumpkins and then you make some like spooky decorations.
I like it. I need to play. Yeah, I haven't played it for ages. I might get back into it in the new year because I do like. It hit at the right time for me. It hit at the right time for everyone because no one has anything to do. But like...
I've been starting to wind down. Like in September, I finally stopped playing it daily.
Yeah.
But then they did the Halloween event, and I was like right back in.
Halloween, yeah, obviously.
I'm gonna be in for Halloween, but then it's like I might stick around in November just because I like the aesthetic and like the island's like nice and autumny now.
Like I love the game, and I loved my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I just like checking in with them every day and stuff like that. But yeah, I did sort of drop the game around about July time, I think, June, July time. I kind of just got to that point where I sort of felt like I'd gotten everything I wanted out of it.
Yeah, I've reached that point now.
But I'll be back. I'm sure. 100 and 200 hours, I think, maybe.
Well, I think we all played it far too much when it came out.
I mean, we had no choice, right? Like, what else were we going to do? Go outside? Couldn't do that. Anyway, got the last news story, and then we'll get into everything else. Bloodlines 2's senior narrative designer Cara Ellison has left the project. This is from Andy Chuck over at PC Gamer, who writes, in August, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 developer Hardsuit Labs announced that it had parted ways with both lead writer Brian Mitsoda and creative director Kai Clooney. Reasons for their release weren't given, but Mitsoda suggested that it wasn't a happy split, saying that he was unaware of any problems and that his firing came as a complete surprise. Today, publisher Paradox Interactive confirmed that senior narrative designer Cara Ellison has also left the project and is no longer with developer Hardsuit Labs. Rumours about Ellison's departure began to swell after fans noticed that she'd removed references to the project from her Twitter profile. Our mellow developer League of Geeks also recently announced that Ellison had joined it as a senior narrative designer. Quote, we can confirm that Cara Ellison has decided to leave Hardsuit Labs and is no longer working on Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Paradox spokesman said. Cara brought fresh ideas to the project and many of her contributions will be present in the game launching next year. We thank her for her work on Bloodlines 2 and wish her the best in all of her future endeavours. End quote. It's possible that the move reflects the natural evolution of Bloodlines 2 development, that the narrative design is finished and so Ellison's work was effectively done. But in August, Bloodlines was delayed into 2021, suggesting that work was definitely not nearing completion, and it's not hard to see the removal of Mitsoda and Clooney a week later as a sign of deeper trouble. The statement that many of her contributions will be present in the game is also interesting. I would expect that as a senior narrative designer, the story it tells will be primarily her responsibility. Paradox declined to comment on when Ellison left the project or how it will impact the development of Bloodlines 2. Paradox, I need help keeping the faith in this game coming out and being good. I'm worried.
You're worried? Why are you worried?
Because everybody's leaving. Like, Mitsoda
that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. That could just mean that they just don't want to work on it. Like, it might well be that.
Well, Cara Ellison left, I'm guessing. But like Brian Mitsoda and Kai Clooney got fired, and they were
I mean,
the
Cara
creative
Ellison
director
might
and
well,
lead writer, and yeah,
and it's entirely possible that Ellison's left because the game is at a point where you can't really impact it narratively. That might well mean there's nothing for them to do.
I hope so. But Brian Matoda was also the guy that they brought back from the original, the writer they brought back from the original Bloodlines, like. And the reason why I was excited for this being a sequel because
Yeah, but the original Bloodlines was a mess. Like,
yeah, but gameplay wise, not in a writing wise, like the story and the worlds and the characters, the reason why everybody loved it, despite the fact that it was incredibly horrifically broken. And like the reason why, because like if this had just been we're bringing back Bloodlines and it didn't have anyone from the original development team, it would have been like, all right, cool, you know, like I wouldn't have been like, oh my god, they're doing it, like I was knowing that they brought back the lead writer from the first one to the second one, and then they fired him, and now they also fired the creative director, and now the other writer, senior narrative designer, is also left, and now I'm nervous, and the game's been delayed, and I'm just
I mean,
nervous.
I think the delay could be due to any number of things, up to and including the current
That
difficulties.
is true. Yeah, that is
So
true.
that's not necessarily a sign that things are going badly. I don't know. If I had a concern, and it's kind of a nothing concern, really, it's that I worry that it might be hewing a little too close to the original. I'm thinking things like bringing Courtney Taylor back to play Damsel, which is cool, but I worry that means it sort of suggests it's going to be a bit kind of more fan servicey and more sort of like in service to the original Bloodlines, and rather than sort of carving out its own identity. But that's 100% speculation on my part. In
Yeah, like we
fairness,
haven't really seen that much of the story of it, or any of it really.
I mean, I would think, you know, if you want some comfort, I would think for a project on this scale, you know, a sort of, I don't want to say a B tier RPG, but that's not fair. But it's not Cyberpunk.
No.
But even so, there's probably still quite a number of writers on it. Like, you know, the chief narrative designer is not going to be writing every subquest or every piece of dialogue. Like, there's going to be like a team of copywriters and people writing subquests and even writing dialogue for characters. I mean, that's how BioWare do things. Like, they have individual writers writing.
Don't invoke BioWare right now. Jesus, I thought you were trying to comfort me.
Sorry, that's how BioWare. Okay, that's how BioWare did Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Is they had like an individual writer write a character essentially.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think I read that in someone's book or something. But no, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I'm nervous. I've seen this happen before, and it's never turned out well.
I mean, it might be they got. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, Paradox. I mean, this is getting away from video games a bit, but Paradox like came in with an absolute brush. I mean, they sacked essentially shut down White Wolf.
Yes.
Over them being shitty. So
that's one way to put it. But
so they have form with this. Like, the example I keep thinking is I think about all the MCU films and the Star Wars films where very capable creative types like Edgar Wright and Colin Trevorrow left or got kicked off the project, and the finished project was still fine. Like, I remember people worrying about Rogue One because there were a bunch of reshoots, and Rogue One's really good. I mean, and people worrying when Edgar Wright got kicked off Ant-Man, and Ant-Man is still really good.
That's true. However, your third example was Colin Trevorrow, and that led to the rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But I'm going to take some comfort in your words, Patrick. I'm only nervous because this one feels a little personal.
Like, yeah, no, I take great comfort in knowing that the original Bloodlines was a broken mess, and therefore that this could well be a broken mess. But it's also going to come out in 2021 when we can patch these things.
Yeah,
like that's the difference between this and two.
We're not going to do it. We're not going to shut the entire company down almost immediately, like Activision did when they released the first one.
Like I have faith, but
That's good enough for me.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend that it's it's necessarily a good sign, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad one.
That's good enough for me.
Because Ellison didn't work on the project very long, and probably, contrary to what they're saying, probably didn't have that much of an impact. And it might well be that they said, you know what, I can't do anything new and creative with this at this stage, so I'm out.
I want to believe.
We don't know, because we don't know how much of the narrative work is done and finished.
Yeah, I guess we don't really know how much of the game. It's not like it's coming out in January. It could be coming out in December next year for all we know. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, it was due to come out.
Due to come out early 2020 was the original
but
release date. And then it was now, I'm guessing.
Yeah. But everyone started working from home, so it got pushed back.
No, of course. Yeah, 100%. Right. Announcements. Ooh, I heard myself say that back through my headphone. I said that too loud. Okay, we got some game reveals. Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace is coming in 2021 to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. This was Mansions of Madness, and they've decided to pivot and turn it into Arkham Horror.
I think that's a brand recognition thing more than anything.
Probably. I feel like, probably. Darkest Dungeon 2 is launching in early access in 2021.
Well, I predicted that.
I know
it's going to be 3D.
Yeah, sure. I've seen. Yeah. Some people I know are going to be very excited for that. Not me. I really I have bought Darkest Dungeon 3 times, and I really want to actually play it, but I find it very stressful. Exactly. Like that was where
because I love the aesthetic.
It looks cool. It's cool. Like the people who make it, I seem cool, but it's like it just destroys me.
It's a stress management simulator.
So I'm just like, I'm cool, I'm good. But then I play Bloodborne, so I'm like, wait, hang on.
Well, Bloodborne, I'm in the exact same place, and I really wanted to have an easy mode because I want to experience the narrative.
It's excellent, but yeah, like you say, it's also very particular and demanding.
I'm sorry, but come at me. But
I know you've played it because I saw you tweeting about it once.
Yeah, but I haven't beaten Father Gascoigne. I'm just like, I don't want to play that.
Father Gascoigne, yeah, that's the problem. Father Gascoigne is the check. It's the skill check of you have to know how to do certain things. And it stopped me the first time I played it, and I could totally understand why. No judgment on anyone who doesn't want to play Bloodborne because, jeez, it's demanding.
No, I do want to play Bloodborne. But the problem is, I kind of do want there to be.
Yeah. I wish all games had proper difficulty settings. That'd be nice. Stardew Valley is also getting split screen co-op sometime in the future. We got some release dates. Yes, those are all release dates, sort of. Humankind is coming April 2021. Dirt 5 will be a launch title on PS5, so November 12th in America and November 19th over here. Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle. A 64-player battle royale launching November 17th exclusively on Google Stadia.
Actually, Pac-Man Battle Royale is a no-brainer. I'm surprised no one thought of that.
Yeah. After Tetris and Mario, you think Pac-Man 2. Google Stadia exclusive, so it's going to...
So it'll be on everything else in 6 months.
Yeah. The Sims 4 Snowy Escape expansion's coming November 13th. If you're into that kind of thing. But if you're into... But I was going to say not paying for games, but not paying for games or paying less. We're trying to figure out, because we split this up into headers. Reveals, release dates, delays, other. But for the Games Pass / Games with Gold / PS Plus games / free games / bundles, we haven't figured out a convenient title for this subheader yet. And I keep throwing things and none of them are stuck. Free games on Epic this week. Costume Quest 2 and Layers of Fear 2 are both free until October 29th.
Which is bullshit. It should be till after Halloween.
Unfortunately, Halloween is on Saturday and they changed the games up on Thursday. Launching to be announced to be launching on Game Pass, Grim Fandango Remastered, Day of the Tentacle Remastered, and Full Throttle Remastered are all launching on console and PC on October 29th.
Wait a minute. Full Throttle's not a Halloween game.
I think it was more of a LucasArts. Is it
Yeah.
LucasArts? Yeah, LucasArts.
I choose to believe that it's a Halloween selection.
It is. It's a Halloween. Clearly. There's a new charity game bundle announced. Safe in Our World first anniversary charity game bundle. You pay a minimum of £4.65, which goes to the Safe in Our World and mental health charity, and it includes 8 games: Gree, Dear Esther, Avicii, Invector, Rhyme, The Town of Light, Fractured Minds, and Meadow. It's a good bundle.
Yeah, for less than what you can get Gree for on the
of
Switch
those
when
games
it's on sale because Nintendo tax.
Yeah. And in other news, Devolver Digital acquired Crow Team, the Serious Sam developers. So I guess Serious
That's
Sam
a good
4
fit,
did well.
actually.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I guess Serious Sam 4 did well because they just went and said, "Here, come live with us in our crazy Devolver Digital world." We've had a content drop with 4 articles on the drop. So these are articles that we've read and we think are cool, and we think you should read them. And all the links are in the description below the video on YouTube and in the audio and in the descriptions of all the audio podcasts. The first one is a GamesIndustry.biz article, which is basically some black professionals on representation in the UK. And that's what they're talking about. It's cool. I don't know much more what to say about much more than that. It's a cool article. Go check it out. The second one is from Kotaku, talking the truth about Biden's Animal Crossing island.
The hard-hitting stories.
Which is like the opposite of what AOC did on Twitch, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like 6 months too late, and
6 months too late, and Biden didn't make the Animal Crossing.
No,
island,
of course he didn't.
Biden's never heard
Biden
of
does
Animal
not know what
Crossing.
Animal Crossing is.
Biden doesn't know what any of this means.
What? It's Japanese. What?
Yeah, and it's just the title is Biden's Animal Crossing Island is lovely.
Vote, I mean, please vote for Biden, please.
But please vote for Biden. Jesus
please.
God, please. If you live in America, please, we encourage you and beg you. I'll beg.
Like, please go out and vote for him. Please.
Yes. The next 2 articles, both from PC Gamer. The first one is titled "Watch Destiny YouTubers Read Out Salty Comments from Cheaters Who've Had Their Aimbot Shut Down." So it's actually a video in an article. But it's really entertaining because there was this aimbot that had kind of flown under the radar, and Bungie found out about it and shut it down. And then a bunch of users of the aimbot got quite cross, and their salty comments got read out by Destiny YouTubers. And it's quite funny. And lastly, there's an article about Phasmophobia, the new game that's taking Twitch by storm, that I can't wait to play with friends. Which is also really good. Which is also really, it's just, I don't know if it's just as much, but it's also really fun to watch as well as just play. Do you know what Phasmophobia is? Or...
I know vaguely, but I've tried to watch videos of it. I just think it looks really kind of ropey and dated.
I mean,
and I don't really know what it's about.
It's an early access game, so it's a multiplayer horror co-op game where you take up to 4 people. You're a team of paranormal investigators. You go to haunted locations to figure out what type of ghost is haunting the house, school, asylum, whatever. So you basically approach it like, imagine something like Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunter, whatever the fuck those ghost shows from the 2000s, where they went to haunted locations and captured stuff on footage. Now imagine that, but it's real.
So it's like Porn Stars and Poltergeist.
Yeah, it's like it's 4 of your mates and you go in.
Or whatever it was called.
Yeah, Most Haunted. Let's go with that. Most Haunted. It's like Most Haunted, but it's you and 3 of your friends. The ghost is real. It can kill you.
The ghost is actually real.
And you have to try and like gather the evidence with all of the like you set cameras up and like it's got voice
So
recognition.
it's the witching with ghosts.
Yeah, it's got voice because you don't bust the ghost. You're the pre-Ghostbusters. But it's got voice recognition in it, so like the ghost can hear you. So like you can say its name to try and like get it to do stuff in the house and stuff like that. Ask it questions. Like there's a Ouija board and a spirit box in the game. I was talking to Jack, who's someone who I know who is playing it, and he was saying like it was a ghost that only did stuff mostly on when someone was alone in a room. And he was saying like his friend had just started playing it and he was in the room and he was trying to pick something up and he didn't know how to do it, so he asked over the voice chat with the spirit box behind him, and he said, "How do you pick stuff up?" And then the spirit box said F, which is the key binding for picking stuff up.
All right.
And then
it's this little like Japanese girl appeared behind.
Like the spirit box, yeah, it's like the thing that scans through all the radio frequencies really quickly, so that it's a real world ghost hunting tool. But apparently it was like the ghost told them. But like it's kind of like really cool, like as an idea. Like you just get some friends and you go ghost hunting, ghosts try and like scare the crap out of you. But it can also hear what you're saying, and there's like special trigger words and stuff. If you're shouting, apparently that makes it worse. Like if you're like panicking and screaming and stuff, like the ghost gets worse. I haven't played it myself yet, but I want to get a spoopy ghost hunter squad together at some point and try this out because it sounds like a lot of fun. I'm down for hunting ghosts.
Oh, 'tis the season.
Tis the season.
I mean, I think that it's getting a lot of buzz. I imagine Phasmophobia's got to be on consoles within 6 months, right?
Yeah, probably whenever it finishes early access, they'll probably launch it on consoles as well. Obviously, at the minute, being an early access game, most early access games don't hit consoles. Just purely because of the cost of certifying every single patch updates. But I'll let you know if I play it. It'll be on the weekly review, which is our other podcast where we talk about games we've been playing. That comes out every Monday on youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk and podcast services around the globe. Patrick, bunch of games coming out next week.
Hooray! You like it when games come out.
I'm going to tell you about them. On October 27th, Cara comes out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Cara is a charming adventure game wrapped around a unique world-altering puzzle mechanic. Uses power to explore mysterious islands, help a quirky cast of characters, and guide Cara on a journey back to her family. If you want to say anything about any of these games, you just chime in. I can't remember if we used to read the descriptions
I'll be honest,
time you were here.
I don't know what most of these are, so don't worry about it.
No, that's fine.
I know of the next one, but I don't know about it.
It's just I can't remember if we used to do this last time you were on the podcast, so I thought.
Not last time.
You feel free to just jump in whenever you want.
Oh, don't worry, I will.
Also on October 27th, we've got Ghost Runner coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Ghost Runner offers a unique single-player experience, fast-paced violence combat, and an original setting that blends science fiction with post-apocalyptic themes.
I feel like we have a one name for that.
Indeed. I think we do. I can't think of it right now, though. It tells the story of a world that has already ended and its inhabitants who fight to survive.
Yes, that sounds like a very unique single-player experience from that.
Incredibly unique. I can't think of any fast-paced violent combat
it does. I mean, Fair's to Ghost Run, it does look interesting, but that description does it no favors whatsoever.
No, I mean, I just copy-paste the descriptions, and sometimes I do make fun of them. Also on October 27th, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 comes to PS4. The long-awaited finale to the epic engulfing a continent comes to a head in the final chapter of the Trails of Cold Steel saga. That was a difficult sentence to read. Okay, sure.
Well, there's a lot of adjectives.
Yes. To the epic engulfing a continent.
And long awaited should be hyphenated, but hey.
A long-awaited finale to the epic engulfing a continent. I feel like there's a word missing. Anyway. Sure,
It is grammatically correct, but they're using epic as a noun. And I think that's
okay.
throwing us off.
Okay, cool. It's got a following. I've always wanted to check the games out, but it's like there's like, although it's Trails of Cold Steel 4, I'm pretty sure the series has got like 9 games in it, and they're all like 60-hour RPGs. And I'm just like, who's got the time? Whenever tired, maybe. On October 28th, Xuan Yan Sword 7 comes to PC. Xuan Yan Sword 7 is an ARPG rooted in Chinese history and mythology. Players take on the role of Taishi Zhao, a calm and reliable swordsman who is accidentally involved in a tragic fate. To protect his beloved family, he starts a journey in this chaotic realm to find the truth. And also on October 28th, Song of Horror Complete Edition comes to PS4 and Xbox One. A third-person fixed-camera survival horror adventure. Fear the Presence, a mysterious entity you cannot fight. Stay alert, hide, breathe slowly. Explore cursed places where unseen spirits and lost souls linger in a true horror story for the ages. You know when I said I copy-paste all of the descriptions?
Mm-hmm.
I might not have copy-pasted this one. This next one. On October 29th, Watch Dogs Legion comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Google Stadia. In Watch Dogs Legion, you get to build a resistance to take back a near-future London that is facing its downfall. In a game published and developed by Ubisoft, a company that spent years covering up for sexual abusers, sexual harassers, racists, transphobes, sexists, and more.
Do you think that's fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I will remind people that this is a thing for at least the rest of the year. On October 3rd, sorry. I did it with the last game that they released as well. Moody just died laughing.
Oh, you do.
I just don't like them very much right now. No, the people working there, most of them
I mean,
are cool.
That is fair and understandable.
Anyway, on October 30th...
I'm probably still... Spoilers, I'm probably still going to get Assassin's Creed. Maybe not at launch, but...
That's absolutely fine. No
not
judgment.
Everyone... listen, I'm the first to cancel people if I think they're being...
A very small percentage in proportion of people...
But not everyone who works at Ubisoft.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we've obviously done the discussion to death, but yeah, no, like most of the people that work at Ubisoft were the victims of this rather than
I think it's
the perpetrators. It's
good that these things get called out.
And like, if you want to buy Watch Dogs Legion, you go right ahead and buy and play Watch Dogs Legion. That's
totally my lack of interest in Watch Dogs Legion is not directly related to Ubisoft's current situation. It's that it has a very Brexity vibe, and I'm just not in the headspace for that.
Because they literally described it as a post-Brexit game.
But it's not political, which that is the thing I do hate about Ubisoft when they bring out this fucking bullshit, cowardly. It's not political. It's like when they say the Division 2 is not political and Watch Dogs is. Of course, it's fucking political. Everything is political,
especially the stuff you do. Well, some of it, Division 2. Ghost Recon, but no, like it's the same extent to Assassin's Creed and anything else that Ubisoft makes. Like if you want to buy it and play it, you buy it and play it. You support those developers.
Of course, it's political. The decision to have a female protagonist or not is political.
It's politicized. I don't know if it shouldn't be political. It should just be artistic. But anyway, on October 30th, Pikmin 3 Deluxe comes out on Nintendo Switch.
Pikmin 3 might be political, I'll grant you.
A capable crop of tiny creatures and explore a hostile planet in this exciting blend of action and strategy. Seek out valuable items, solve puzzles.
I don't understand.
And apparently that turned my Google on. she didn't understand, so it's fine. Seek out valuable items, solve puzzles, and overcome powerful creatures in a richly detailed world full of surprises. And lastly, on October 30th, the Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Trapped and isolated in the abandoned town of Little Hope, 4 college students and their teacher must escape the nightmarish apparitions that relentlessly pursue them through an impenetrable fog. Ooh.
I just realised that they named the town Little Hope.
They did.
And I'm kind of angry at it.
Man of Medan was fun though.
Was it? I didn't play it.
I played it with Keith and Russell on a charity stream because they have a thing where you can switch characters. You can switch people pick characters and you can like pass the controller around. Obviously, we're not doing that. So
similar is it to Until Dawn?
It's pretty similar to Until Dawn.
Which speaking of games played for Halloween, I still have not finished, and I should. But again, it makes me feel really anxious.
It's a scary game. Man of Medan is also a scary game, and I'm assuming this will be too. But yeah, like it's got this fun. The Dark Pictures anthology has like a fun multiplayer component to it, where it's like you can play it like cooperatively, where you pick characters, and when your character's on the screen, you're controlling it, and then another character, like because like in Until Dawn, it'll switch between all the different characters depending on the scene. So then you pass the controller to whoever's controlling. It was a lot of fun when we played it, like that. And I'm playing it with Moody on Twitch. Probably next week, maybe. We haven't organised it yet, but we'll see. Should we play OpenCritic head to head?
I mean, if you like.
you get to stand in and pick pick a score for Mooney. It's going to be fine. OpenCritic head to head. It's the game we play every week here, where myself and Moody and now Patrick try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever gets closest to the score gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week was a bit weird. So the week before last, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Remothered, Broken Porcelain. That game didn't have a score last week, and now it does. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Amnesia Rebirth. So we got 2 basically happening at the same time. Remothered, Broken Porcelain, I guessed it would get an OpenCritic average of 70. Moody guessed it would get an OpenCritic average of 79. And it has an OpenCritic average at the time of recording of 40.
Yeah, I don't know what you two were thinking.
The first one was good. And it actually did get like a 75, I think, on OpenCritic. But having played this one myself.
So it is appreciably worse than the first one.
Yes. Very.
In what way? Is it just a broken mess, or? It's
definitely a broken mess. But the underlying game has its issues from a design standpoint as well. I talk about it a lot in the podcast we put out on Monday, the weekly review, episode 3. If you want my like expanded thoughts on it, but yeah, it's a broken mess that's not really well designed, even if you get past the bugs. And then I hit a game-breaking bug and decided to end it there and then.
Right. That's fair.
We also last week tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Amnesia Rebirth. I guessed it would get an 82. Moody guessed it would get an 85, and at the time of recording, Amnesia Rebirth has an OpenCritic average of 80. So I got 2 points. 1 for each game. Although I feel like you shouldn't get it if you go over. I feel like it should be Price is Right rules. Nah, if it was Price is Right rules, I thought about it, but no. I mean, you saw what happened with Remothered. I mean, yeah, but the biggest clusterfuck was when we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Warcraft 3. The re-release. Oh god, yes. Yeah. I feel like I won that one by default just because my. Is that thing fixed yet? Moody. I don't know. I've never checked. It leaves the current scores at Amy 19, Moody 18 with 3 draws. Normally at this point I would go through the entire list of all the games that we've guessed, but I'm not going to do that because Moody's not here. All I'm going to do is move on to this week. we're guessing the OpenCritic average of Pikmin 3 Deluxe. As always, normally I would let Moody go first. This time I'll let Patrick go first. Patrick, what do you think the OpenCritic average of Pikmin 3 Deluxe is?
So I'll admit that I cheated and looked at what the Metacritic average was
for no, that's not cheating.
Pikmin 3 when it came out on the Wii U, and it was like in the mid-80s, which I think is high. I mean, I say that. I mean, Pikmin is actually, I've never played a Pikmin game. It's probably, though, I think about it, the biggest first-party Nintendo franchise that I've never played at all. So I think it's probably going to rank lower than it did on the Wii U, just because of how these things work. So I'm going to say I'm about 75.
75. Kablam.
Probably a bit harsh.
I mean, you say that, but Remothered Broken Porcelain got a 40.
I mean, I say that, but there might be that there aren't many reviews and they're all going to be like glowing positive. Yay, let's get it. No, I'm going to say 75.
All right, cool.
Not through any fault of the game. I don't think the game's gotten worse. I just think it's just not. It's not going to have a massive impact.
Yeah, no. I'm going for 79 because I feel like I want to just basically at 8. I want to go for like the step below 8 essentially. Is where I think it's going to end up, around about there. Yeah.
I think I'm scoring it low. I definitely am scoring it low because I think it's probably going to get in the 80s. But I'm going to say no. I'll say 75.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Moody who does or does not.
Yeah, well, yeah,
based on this, so it's not your problem. I'm sure he will bitch and moan and complain if you don't get the point, and I'm sure he won't mind if you do get the point. That's it for the show. Normally we do a post-show discussion where we literally talk about anything we feel like. I think last week we talked about Avengers. The week before, I'm pretty sure we talked about F1.
Film event.
No, we talked about the game.
Yeah, I mean, spoilers. We're not going to talk about F1.
No, hell no. Is there anything you want to talk about? Spooky films?
I don't know.
Films recommend? You recommended me a spooky film for spooky season. Recommend me some more.
So I'm trying to remember what I've actually watched this spooky season.
What have you watched this spooky season?
And I should have been taking notes. I did. Hang on. Do I need to get my notebook out?
Because I haven't watched anything spooky.
I had a notebook of the things that I wanted to watch, and I've checked off some of them. But because the hashtag INFP problems, I sometimes just float around and don't do things I did. So, so I'll go for the list. These are just the things that I put down that I wanted to watch, but I haven't actually seen them, so I'll just go for the ones that I did watch. So I watched this Insidious 2.
I've seen the first one, and I've never watched any other ones. So.
The Insidious 2 is very much more of the same. I mean, it depends really how you feel about the first one, and that it's perfectly competent and spooky.
My overriding memory of the first one was that one jump scare. With the thing where the camera goes to Patrick Wilson and the devil thing is behind him and the
there's the devil thing behind the one that gets spoiled in the Netflix preview.
Yeah, it's like I'd never had it spoiled for me, and I remember watching Insidious and just being like, like everyone else, like, oh my fucking Christ.
I feel like it works better as a dark fantasy than as a pure horror, because it's like once it starts going to like astral projection, it's like, oh right. So things I was going to watch, the American remake of The Ring, which I haven't watched yet. I'm probably going to watch that for Halloween.
A long time ago, yeah.
Because the American remake of The Ring is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the few Hollywood remakes that actually works.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's necessarily better or worse than original, but it's fine. I haven't watched it, but Event Horizon ? But I watched it last year, so I'm probably not going to watch it again. I watched Mama. Which that's the one where Nicolaj Coster-Waldau and Jessica Chastain adopt a pair of feral girls who are being haunted by a ghost.
I feel like I saw trailers for this and then never followed up with actually watching.
It's free on Prime. It's fine. I didn't find it like particularly terrifying. Jessica Chastain's really good in it though. Like she's absolutely fantastic. Like, she's really good. I put the sequel to The Babysitter on Netflix, but I didn't watch that. I did watch this, Ready or Not.
Ready or Not, that sounds familiar.
It came out last year. It's the one. I mean, the premise is that a woman is marrying into a rich family, and as part of the marriage celebrations, she has to play a game, and the game she picks is hide and seek.
Okay.
So naturally, the entire family has to hunt her down and kill her.
Sure, makes sense.
So the whole thing is basically her going around like this big, rich, fancy Agatha Christie house in a bride dress while her in-laws try to murder her for an hour and a half. It kind of would make a good double feature with Knives Out, I think.
I like Knives Out.
It's got quite a similar aesthetic and a similar like theme of like sort of like class relations.
Okay.
Which I think would be quite good.
I could dig it.
After that, let's see, I've got Us, which I did watch.
Yeah, I watched that during the lockdown.
And I watched it the first time. I'm probably never going to watch it again because it really freaked me out.
Lupita Nyong'o's face is...
She's awesome.
She's amazing, but she can do some stuff with her face that haunts me.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I'm never going to watch it again because I found it... Again, it's not... I find it really eerie and just very unsettling, and I hadn't had bad dreams about it.
That's fair.
So it's good, but I don't know if I want to watch it again. Under that, I put Get Out, but I'm probably not going to watch that this year because I've never seen Get Out.
It's really good.
But I've watched Us, and I don't really want to watch both of them now.
It's a very different... I want to say, well, it's obviously a very different subject, sort of matter, but I think it's a very different vibe to Us. Like, you can tell it's made by the same director, but beyond that, it's quite a different type of film.
Okay.
Then we just get into really good in that as well.
Right. Then we just get into a bunch of stuff that I didn't get around to see. So, the 2019 Pet Sematary, which I haven't seen.
Pet Sematary, yeah.
I'm probably not going to watch this, but I put Van Helsing. The really bad Hugh Jackman one.
Hugh Jackman. Oh God. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
It's not good, but it's on the list.
It's not.
I haven't seen it.
I went to the cinema to watch that film.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beckinsale's in it as well, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not good. So then we've got the black and white Universal Studios Frankenstein.
Okay. And
next to it, I just put Bride of Frankenstein because I haven't seen those. The new TV series of The Grudge on Netflix.
Wait, what?
There's a TV series. Yeah, there's a TV series of The Grudge.
Oh my!
But it's a Japanese one.
Oh yeah, Ju-on Origin.
So that'll probably be horrible.
The poster's something. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. The trailer. It looks like The Grudge. The 2010 M. Night Shyamalan film, Devil.
Devil. Okay.
Just because I saw it on Netflix. That's the one. It's a bunch of people in the lift. And it's basically Among Us. It's a bunch of people in the lift, and one of them is Satan.
Okay. So, yeah, Among Us, the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think people overlook because M. Night Shyamalan was involved.
Yeah.
So next on the list is...
He did the film... The Visit a few years ago, which was actually really good. 2015, The Visit. I mean, it was a lot better than like The Happening.
I haven't seen The Happening, so I can't
comment. Don't. That would be my advice. Sorry, you were saying.
That's all right. Next we got Hereditary, which I haven't seen.
Oof. Okay, I won't say anything. I'll be interested to
see
after that.
Slender Man, which I haven't seen.
No, neither have I, but that's kind of on purpose.
I don't think it's going to be good. Under the Shadow, which I started but didn't finish.
Okay.
That's the one set during the Iran-Iraq War in like Tehran. I hate this title. The Haunting of Bly House.
It's good though.
Which I watched, and it's really good, and I cried at the end.
Didn't we all?
and it's oh, it's nice. It's nice. I was it was like 3 in the morning when I finished watching it because I got until like I think I got to like the 7th episode and it's like, oh, I'll just watch the next one. The next one was like the flashback episode.
The flashback episode, and the next
I
one's
was
the
like,
last
oh
episode.
shit, now I've got to watch this. And then in the last episode, like spoilers, everything wraps up within 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's
and
weird.
the rest is
And
just
then the
it's
rest
just
of the
denouement.
Yeah, it's
It's
good
like,
though because
oh,
I love every single character in Blind Manor. Like,
yeah, it's really good.
I
I really hate
liked,
the title.
I can't remember the character name. The Ryle Corley and the housekeeper.
I think that's Hannah Gross, Mrs. Gross.
Right. And Rahul
Yeah.
Kohli was the guy with the mustache. I know
Was
him from
Owen?
content.
What's his name?
That's his name, like the actor's name, Rahul Kohli.
Yeah. No, I think the cast was really good. I don't think it's as good as Haunting of Hill House,
No, but it's a very different
but
thing.
it's very different. I mean, it's adapted.
Owen was his character's name, Owen and Hannah. Yeah, it's like it's not even trying to be the same, or even close to being the same. Because like Hill House is very much more focused on being horror, like scary horror.
Yes.
Whereas Blind Manor is very much interested in telling its story with a horror backdrop, like, which is fun.
Next is Netflix adaptation of Rebecca, which isn't really horror, but is gothic.
I got a notification for that the other day.
Yeah. Because I really love the book. The book is fantastic. I'm due for a rewatch of Sleepy Hollow, but I probably won't bother.
Cool. You've got one more, then we'll wrap up the podcast.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you want recommends? Is that what it is?
Yeah, recommend.
I mean, we're towards the end, so I've got The Color Out of Space, Ginger Snaps, Candyman, The Crow, The Ring Zero, and The Frighteners. And I watched Candyman and The Crow.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like, is Candyman a Halloween film? And then it's like, oh, it takes place on October 30th, so yes, it is.
Yeah, probably.
In terms, I don't know if I have anything particularly in terms of recommends because the rest
I
is just
can go
me
through
watching.
that list because
me watching trash.
Some of it I've
watched. I watched other things that was just on the list, which I didn't write down, but I can't remember what I watched.
That's fine.
Dark City. I rewatched Dark City.
Nice.
Is that a Halloween film? I don't know, but I watched The Crow, then I wanted to watch Dark City.
I mean, if you watched it at Halloween, it's a Halloween film. If you say it's a Halloween film, that's good enough for me.
I watched Final Destination, which I've never seen before.
That's cool. I watched Scream 2 nights ago.
I think Scream 2 is underrated, actually.
Scream and Scream 2 are really good. I really like them.
The problem with Scream, though, is that it's Harvey Weinstein's name is all over it.
It's literally a Weinstein production.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard.
I get it. I really like the films, but
it sucks because that's sort of like Scream is sort of like, I think of it in terms of like the slasher films of the 80s for my generation. That Scream is like the horror film that was big when I was young, when I was a teenager.
It was, yeah, Ghostface.
So it's
iconic.
Kind of big, informative, and like that's what horror feels like to me. I also watched the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which no one should watch because it is awful.
That is the perfect place to put an end to this podcast.
Yeah.
That was.
I was fine for 2/3 of it, and then they go to Freddy's sex dungeon. I'm like, oh god. Yeah.
That was episode 229 of the Words About Games podcast.
Cut that out.
Freddy's Sex Dungeon. What a great place to end. I love it. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me, Patrick. It's been a pleasure to have you on. And we'll probably see you. I mean, I'll see you again soon because, we're friends. But everybody else will see you again soon, I'm sure. Yeah, it's going to do it. Say bye.
Bye-bye. Be safe. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Vote Biden.
Vote Biden.